Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So my name's Erin Sullivan for those of you who don't know me. In this video I'm going to show you how I took this old box that I actually made in high school and turned it into an end table for my bedroom. I really hope you guys enjoy this video and keep watching. So the first thing I did in this project was I had gone to Michael's and I found these wooden candlesticks. I think they were made out of pine or poplar. I'm not really sure exactly what it was, but they weren't completely level. So what I had to do was measure all the way around at 9 inches because that's what I wanted the legs to be, and then I cut the excess off with a saw. Now this was kind of difficult because the saw wasn't super sharp, so I didn't get the cleanest cut, but it was good for what I needed it for, so. But like I said, these are just candlesticks that I got at Michael's. They were like $4 a piece. So now what I did was I just took my orbital sander and I sanded it down the rest of the way so it was level and that I would have a nice smooth surface to attach to the box. And yes guys, that is the pressure washer that we made in one of my earlier videos. Alright, so the next thing I did was I took off all the brass hardware or faux brass hardware off the box that was on there. Like I said, I made this in high school and this was actually one that I didn't make. It was someone else's. So it wasn't perfect, but it was free, so that's why I took it. Anyway, so like I said, I took the hardware off and put it aside because some of it I wanted to keep and some of it I didn't want to use again. So now what I'm doing is I'm just sanding the whole bottom of the box. That way I can attach the legs. So I didn't sand all the way down to bare wood on the entire bottom because I didn't really plan on painting it just because there was really no need because it's never going to be seen. So I just sanded down to bare wood where the legs were going to be attached. But I did sand the whole thing just to, get all the crap off it because it's been sitting for a while, so. Alright, so the next step was to attach the legs. So what I did was I grabbed a square and I just found the middle of each leg. That wasn't the exact right tool to be using, but it didn't have to be perfect, so I just kind of estimated just to find the middle. So I transferred all those marks onto the 4 legs, and then I started marking where the holes should be drilled on the box. And I did the same thing. I put the leg on the corner one of the boxes and I just measured in how far I wanted the leg to be set. And then using that mark, I set it on the square and then transferred the marks to each side of the corner. And now I got the drill index out. And now I am taking a center punch and I'm just punching where each of the lines intersect on the box and the legs. And now I am drilling out the box. I used a 3/16 bit on the box because I wanted that to be a loose hole, and then I used a 1/8 inch, actually it was smaller, it was probably like a 16th bit on the legs, so that way the screw would have meat to grab on the leg. So I know it kind of looks like the box is actually made out of mahogany, but don't let that trick you. It's actually just poplar, and it had been stained that color. Like I said, this box wasn't mine, so it just kind of was like that when I got it. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking a 2-inch screw and I'm driving it through the hole we drilled in the box into the leg so it will grab the leg. And I just put a little bit of, well, it's supposed to be wood glue, but I actually just epoxied these legs on there just because I couldn't find the wood glue for some reason, so I was just like, well, epoxy it is. And now we're ready for paint. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the whole thing down. I don't have to strip it down to bare wood. Actually, this white paint actually kind of like acts as a primer. So we'll fill in all the big voids. I was going to fill the cracks and stuff with Bondo, but I couldn't find where my dad keeps it, so I just left it like that. But I did give the whole thing a nice sanding with 220 grit, and that should be good enough for paint. So I took the latch off, give it another blow, and now I'm getting ready for paint. So right now you're about to see that the paint that I got for it, which was actually on clearance at Michael's for like $6, didn't quite come out the way I expected it to, and I was quite confused. So I started to think that now it was time to rethink my plan. So what I did was I grabbed some yellow paint that I had from when I lived in my apartment, and I decided to use this. It's a nice light yellow color. It's really pretty, so this is what I went with. So I had actually put on the paint quite thick where the orange was, just because I really didn't wait that long to paint over it with yellow. I just kind of let it tack over. So I just kind of put a thick coat over where the orange was, which probably isn't what you're supposed to do, but I just did it anyway. So that was on the first coat, and I waited for that to dry completely, and then what I did was I sanded it just on that face completely, so it was smooth, and then went over it with another coat. It didn't really affect the final product and the outcome, but if you guys are doing this and you have to paint over another color because you changed your mind, I'd probably wait for it to dry completely and then sand it. But that's what I did, was just painted right over it, but you probably should have sanded it. Or I should have. Another thing, it might have been a good idea to either mask off the hinge or just take the hinge off. I just cut in just because I'm so used to cutting things in. But if you don't have a super steady hand, I'd probably take the hinge off. I mean, you don't have to. It's in the back, so I suppose you're never going to see it. But if you really care about what that looks like, I would probably take the hinge off. And don't mind the two cars in the background. They're actually like ongoing projects, so just don't mind that. So I had propped the cover open with a pencil, like just in between the hinges, and it worked pretty good, but I just didn't want the cover open that much, so what I did was I took two little screws. They're actually the screws for the hardware, and just screw them into the corners on the edges of the box itself just to pop it open. So I forgot to film this, but I just took the gold spray paint from the last video, and I just gave them a dousing on the legs. I kind of liked the way you could see the wood through it, so I didn't really prime them at all or anything, but if you wanted them smooth, I would have just primed them and sand them. I mean, not prime them. What am I talking about? Actually, yeah, prime them. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm super happy with the way this came out. It was just a box that I didn't make. I made one, and I actually still have it, and I'll never touch it because it turned out like perfect in my opinion. But this one was just an extra, and I just never knew what to do with it. And now I'm stupendously happy that I have a use for it. It's just been sitting around, and you know, it has sentimental value because I made it in the first place, and now it's another piece of furniture I made. So I really hope you guys like this project. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want. I would really appreciate it. Thanks, you guys. Bye.